Welcome back to another review. So today, LSG. LSG is the alter ego of Trance Techno titan Oliver Lieb, and under this name he released some of the most genre-defining albums and tracks to date. Tracks such as My Time Is Yours, and albums such as The Black Album. Exactly a year after the Black Album was released, Oliver Lieb released another album by the name of Into Deep in 1999. Into Deep is laced with luscious breakbeats that keep your interest from their hypnotic grooves and good dose of bass. Mr. Lieb has proven his worth and ability over and over again, starting in the late 80s and quickly becoming a leading pioneer of trance anthems from none other than the birthplace of trance music itself, Frankfurt, Germany. Having reviewed Mr. Lieb's Inside Voices recently, Into Deep is more funk-driven and more geared towards the nightclub floors. Inside Voices, for sure, is more ambient and techno-driven, a sort of concept album which delves into atmospheric sonic landscapes. Where the two albums differ is quite clear in that Into Deep is a collection of tracks that are grounded in the funky beats. Inside Voices is more of a relaxing, cleansing experience where you feel you've spent time in a distant, isolated wilderness where you can see yourself being healed by the sonic sounds amongst you. Into Deep, being, as I mentioned, a collection of songs, keeps you guessing in that a moment you are hearing ambient, blissful, atmospheric sounds, and then you're thrown headfirst into a frenzy of breakbeats where they lead your body into a deep rhythm that overtakes your body and senses. Certainly, without a doubt, one of the highlights of the album begins at nearly the end, where the song Into Deep moves gracefully into the final track on the album, West Side. Not only does this transition from song to song sound flawless, it only warms up from there into a beautiful beat-laden sonic experience. At first, the first song on the album, Concatenation, sounds like a soundtrack to a Halloween movie, but it does progress from there and gradually becomes better, although the length is a bit stretched. It moves on into the next song, or rather a quick transition song called No Causalidad, which is just over a minute long, and then if you're not paying attention, you'll find yourself into the next track, which a bilingual lady keeps saying, "Give me your hand, don't be afraid." And with that, another smooth, continuous progression into the highlight, at least in my opinion, of the first half of the album, El Tiburón. If you translate this phrase, it means shark, and then you realize why the Spanish lady kept saying, "Don't be afraid, give me your hand." But hey, it's only music, right? The heavy laden bass is beautifully mixed with the intricate breakbeats and overlapping synths stretching across till your mind cannot comprehend them. Tiburón Citrino follows, which means yellow shark, and along with the new track, new instruments, especially rich toned synth sounds and beats chopped into vibrating breaks. Quick Star continues the downward spiral, diffusing the prior upbeat sounding tracks. Like steps going downhill or underwater, deeper and deeper, a unique sounding synth begins to spiral down, increasing the intensity with multiple repeated beats, gradually putting your senses at ease. I'm No Existing starts with some downbeat notes with a lady wailing and saying she doesn't exist. So much for that one. Onwards to Bengal Rose, which continues without break, but is more interesting than the previous Not Existing track. I rather prefer the downward beats of Bengal Rose to I'm Not Existing because they are accompanied with a rather good synth loop that adds more color. Gelanity begins with a sweeping synth that clears the room of all breakbeats and slowly builds through a few chord changes until a non-intrusive diminished hi-hat follows along the lengthy synth progression. Beats do come in, but not until the end, wherein they bounce off the walls in every direction possible. And with those bouncy beats, Chorus begins, which in a few seconds, a juicy fat synth sound overlaps and eventually overtakes the bouncy beats as they are dubbed away. A more direct, hard-hitting beat with intentional bass pervades over all and starts to dominate the track till all you can hear is the fat bassy beat. Then the rich synth sounds are reintroduced into a swirly rhythm pattern. Some incoherent sayings are said by a woman, and before you realize it, you're almost a minute into deep. Well, there you have it, a quick spoken word on what to expect on this unique sonic adventure brought to you by LSG, known as Oliver Lieb. If this album doesn't make you feel or otherwise want to listen to it multiple times, then I'd check your pulse, because this is a seminal trance project from the guy that pioneered the sound in the early 90s. Just like Swen Waff or Jam and Spoon, Mr. Lieb is considered a true innovator and part of the top echelon of trance musicians. My ranking for this album, I feel, deserves somewhere above 8, more like a solid 9 out of 10 for sure. And that's it. 9 out of 10 is my final score. If you look up Oliver Lieb, you'll notice he has worked under multiple aliases, and LSG is only one of them. Searching for those aliases will only open the door to the vast amount of musical prowess that Mr. Lieb has so far created. Happy hunting? For me, that's all. See you next time. If you really do like these reviews, please subscribe, give me a like, and place a comment, and let me know, how these reviews are going. If you like them, if there's an artist that you'd like me to review, then put it in the comments and just let me know. See you next time. Bye-bye.